In this video, we're going to cover section 10.1, which is about exponential growth. This video should be pretty short and hopefully pretty easy. First, I just want to remind you of our delta notation. We've already talked about this one time, but I just wanted to remind you because we're going to have to use that symbol in this section. The symbol delta, it looks like a little triangle, is the Greek letter delta. Delta notation is frequently used in mathematics to describe changes in quantities, with the triangle symbol meaning change in. So if you see delta, that means change in. It's usually followed by a variable, so it'll say something like this. So it'll have the delta and then a variable. So here this would be the change in t, where t represents something maybe like time. These are the two formulas that you're going to be using for this section. These formulas appear on your formula sheet, so you do not have to have them memorized. The first formula is for the average growth rate. The average growth rate is the change in P over the change in T, or delta P over delta T. The relative growth rate is equal to the change in P over the change in T divided by P, where P is the original population. Alright, so you notice here that the numerator of this formula comes straight from the average growth rate. Alright, so the numerator of that formula is just the average growth rate. And then I just want to remind you one more time, this P down here, that represents the original population. So the original population. In these formulas, P stands for population, T stands for time. I'm going to go over this problem from the homework. This is section 10.1 homework problem number 1. It's a pretty long problem as far as parts go. It's got, 5 parts? But I think you'll find that it's pretty easy, and each question builds off of the previous question, or each part builds off of the previous part. It says this exercise deals with data from the U.S. Bureau of the Census on populations of major cities. These data allow us to find how fast the population is growing and when it will reach certain levels. Such calculations are very important because they indicate the future needs of the population for goods and services and how well the area can support the population. The third largest city in the United States is Chicago. Its population in 2011 was 2,705 in thousands. In 2012, so 1 year later, it was 2,715. Part A says, convert this information into 2 ordered pairs, where T measures the year since 2011 and P measures the population in thousands. Part B says, find delta T, the change in time. Part C says, find delta P, the change in population. Part D wants us to find the average growth rate, and then Part E wants us to find the relative growth rate. Now, one thing that you can't see here, but is pretty clear in your homework, is that for Part E, they're going to want you to write your answer as a percentage. All right, so I'll remind you of that when we get to that part. All right, Part A. Convert this information to 2 ordered pairs, T, P, where T measures the year since 2011 and P measures the population in thousands. All right, so our answers are going to look like this. They're going to be little ordered pairs. All right, so again, let's look at our first year and population combination. All right, so 2011, the population was 2,705. Okay, so it tells us that T is measured in years since 2011. So if it is 2011, how many years have passed since 2011? That would be 0, right? So 0 years have passed since 2011 if it is 2011. All right, so our T is going to be 0, and then for P, you just plug in the numbers, so that's 2,705. All right, so there's our first ordered pair, 0, 2,705. All right, our next ordered pair is going to come from this information. It says in 2012, the population was 2,715. All right, so again, T is the number of years since 2011. So how many years has it been since 2011? has been 1 year. And again, for the population, you just copy down the number, or for P, you just copy down the number. So it's going to be 1/27/15. All right, so there are 2 ordered pairs. All right, part B says find delta T, the change in time. All right, so change in time, that means how many years have passed from 2011 to 2012. Those are the years in this problem. The years could be different if you had a different problem. All right, so how many years have passed from 2011 to 2012? That's just 1 year. All right, so delta T is 1. Part C says find delta P, which is the change in population. This wants us to determine how much did the population increase by or decrease. If it had decreased, ours increased. How much did the population increase by between 2011 and 2012? Well, that's pretty easy to find out. We're just going to take our final population and then subtract off the original population. So that's 2715 minus 2705. So the change in P, or delta P, is 10. Now it wants us to find the average growth rate, which is delta P over delta T. Now luckily for us, we have already found delta P and delta T, so there's no extra work to do here. We just need to plug those in. So if delta P was 10, and delta T was 1, that's going to be average growth rate equals 10 over 1. Now we can simplify that, so 10 over 1 is just 10. So what this means is that on average, the population is growing by 10,000 per year. And I know that because they told me that the population is measured in thousands and the time is measured in years. All right, so that would be 10,000 per year. The last part of this problem wants us to find the relative growth rate. I've entered in, or I've typed in another little hint for us here. It says to write your answer in the form of a percentage. I said at the beginning of this video, or at the beginning of this problem, that it's pretty obvious when you get to the homework that they want you to write this as a percentage, because at the end of the problem, the end of the little box where you type in your answer, they have a percentage symbol. So we'll just have to remember that, because our answer is going to be in decimal form and we'll have to convert it to a percentage. All right, so relative growth rate is delta P over delta T divided by P, where P is the original population. All right, so from part D, we already know that delta P over delta T is 10. So that's our entire numerator. That whole big fraction becomes 10. And remember, P represents the original population, or the starting population. So that's going to be 2705. All right, so the relative growth rate is going to be 10 divided by 2705. Now we just need to plug that into our calculator and see what that gives us. That gives us relative growth rate equals 0.003697. I just rounded it there because I'm going to need to convert it to a percentage and then round to 3 decimal places. Okay, so recall that in order for us to convert this to a percentage, if we're starting with a decimal, we need to move the decimal 2 places to the right. All right, so if you get these mixed up in your head, just think of like an easy percentage that you know. So for example, like 20% is 0.20. So in order for us to get from 0.20 decimal form to the percentage, you have to move the decimal 2 places to the right. Okay, so let's move the decimal 2 places to the right. So that's 0.3697. It's totally fine that this is still in the form of a decimal. That doesn't mess our problem up. That doesn't mean we've done anything wrong. The last thing we need to do is round this to 3 decimal places. All right, so if you look at the 3rd decimal place here, we need to look 1 over to the right to determine if we need to round up or down. Since the number to the right is 7, we need to round up, which makes this 0.370%. I have one extra problem here. This problem is not from the homework, but you will see this on your practice test, and I think this is a good question for the test as well, or for the quiz, excuse me. You will see it on your practice quiz and on the possibly on quiz 6. It says, between 2000 and 2006, the average rate of inflation for a particular country was about 3.2% per year. If a cart of groceries cost $120 in 2000, what did it cost in 2006? All right, so in 2000, this cart of groceries cost $120. The rate of inflation is 3.2% per year. So let's figure out how much this cart is going to increase by per year in price. So to do that, we need to figure out what is 3.2% of $120, because that's how much our cart of groceries cost. This is really easy to find out. You just have to convert this percentage into a decimal. So 3.2%, that's 0.032. So 0.032 times $120 is $3.84. So each year, this cart of groceries goes up in price by $3.84. So what will this cart of groceries cost in 2006? Well, 6 years have passed, so we need to take our $3.84 and multiply that by 6 to tell us how much it increased by over the 6-year period. So $3.84 times 6 is $23.04. So in 2006, our cart of groceries is going to cost the original price, $120, plus the amount that it inflated by, so that's $23.04, which is $143.04. So if a cart of groceries cost $120 in 2000, the rate of inflation was 3.2% per year. Then in 2006, that same exact cart of groceries would cost about $143.04. If you have any questions over this section, again, don't forget you have several ways that you can ask me questions. You can send me a message on WebAssign. Just click that Ask My Instructor button. You can email me at jberry@ccga.edu, or you can post in the Q&A coffee shop discussion board on our D2L page.